Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oliver Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
It's a very good morning, everybody. Welcome along to Off and Pacing. It's great to have your company for another Monday morning as we review another terrific weekend of harness racing and also look ahead to a busy couple of days. And to help us go through it all, we'll have Ollie Cownie and Glen with us in just a moment. And Shannon Suvaljko will be a special guest as well as we review his really good night at the office here on Friday night, headlined obviously by Sebastian James. And Waterloo, wasn't she terrific to start off the night? But let's not waste any time and bring in our experts. Ollie Cownie with us once again. Hello to you, Ollie.
Morning, Tim.
Great to be chatting to you once again. And also Glen Moore. Glen, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Tim and Ollie. Yeah, what sort of news have we got this morning with David Hunter announcing the big deal with Channel 7 and 7 Plus platform? Hopefully long-term might create some opportunities for major feature races for harness racing, the Pacing Cup of the Nullarbor, with the changing landscape of all this media alterations, even with Queensland operating their carnival. We could probably explore TVN, Sky Thoroughbred Central, all that type of thing for harness racing as well. And we'll see what happens in the changing landscape in the next few months.
Yeah, we certainly will. One thing we do know, the showcase coverage over on the East Coast for feature events has been terrific, and no doubt that'll be on the menu again for Eureka Night, which obviously never ending, going to have his first start over there on the East Coast this week. So looking forward to that. Let's get stuck in, though, this morning, gents, to Friday night. What a terrific night of pacing we had. And it was really on from the outset, as I touched on, with Waterloo taking out the opening event. And we had the marathon. The Pearl Classic was the highlight as well. So, Ollie, I'll go to you first and foremost. And your takeaway from the Pearl, and a terrific story this was with Sebastian James being able to make the most of another very good barrier draw. He got a $100,000 win on the board. He's in good form and cashing in on the good luck he's having at the draws.
Early on in betting, Sebastian James was actually one of the drifters. There was a few horses that were backed in the early stages, like Express Party, but in the end, Sebastian James firmed right up in betting, and he was able to lead from that inside draw, and as he's done a couple of times now, he just held that advantage the whole way. And turning for home, you thought, how far is he going to win by? He was just held back to them, and he looked to be cruising there, and he just emptied out late or he waited for them, and in the end, belly up, flashed home and nearly got him on the line. So it was a great win, Sebastian James, but belly up in second there was a real eye-catcher, and Massimo probably didn't pick up as well as he has recently when he did get clear, but he was another good run, and there was probably a couple of disappointing runs out of the race, but the first few were really good there, and Como El Viento was great in fourth, and one I'll touch on shortly, Captain Sterling was fantastic in fifth. He made an early error, and he was a great run to get that close.
Yeah, he certainly has a lot of ability. Captain Sterling obviously had the tough draw to deal with. Glen, what was your takeouts from the feature on Friday night?
Yeah, Ollie's covered it really well. Look, pretty unlucky, Captain Sterling galloping at the start, obviously, along with Hold the Ammo. You know, both those horses, you don't deserve that, do you, in those races where they just, inexperienced 2-year-olds make mistakes. Probably, from their viewpoint, disappointing, but, they both ran pretty good races after that. All credit to the winner. That clearly Sebastian Jones, but didn't belly up, fly home late. Just shows you how much probably changes that can happen to these babies within a few starts, how they can come forward with a bit of racing experience. Belly up was enormous. And you look at Como El Viento, as pointed out, he really savaged the line late and came from well back, beautifully driven by Mitch too, went through the middle and then pulled to the outside late. There were a lot of good runs in that race, but all credit must go to the winner. Massimo was a touchdown. I just think he got a touch off balance when a junior had to push out and try and get him going again. And he's a bit of a gangly type horse at this time of his preparation, I think did affect him a little bit. He didn't find the line as well as expected.
All right, so that is the feature event on Friday night, the Pearl Classic, and all eyes will turn to next Tuesday night, where we've got the heats of the Westbred before W night, which takes place here in 2.5 weeks at Gloucester Park. All right, let's go and I'll actually, just before we get the horses to follow, I want to get both of your thoughts on the 3-year-old race at the start of the night. So, Ollie, your take on Waterloo's win, and just a reflection on this, obviously, as the 3-year-old Westbred heats are next Monday at Pinjarra.
Waterloo was absolutely fantastic there and winning first up there from a bit of a let-up, and you thought maybe from the draw might be a bit of a query in that race, and Blaze Away got out on the front end and led pretty easy, and he kicked for home and looked to have them beat the two in behind there, Wave Rider and Waterloo. And Waterloo got onto the back of Wave Rider, and she just is a winner, isn't she? She won't lay down, and she kept coming at them, and Blaze Away battled on really well after pulling hard, and Wave Rider was fantastic after doing all the work. So those first three, and even Pete's Honour in fourth, were all fantastic runs there, and they'll all be really hard to beat going forward.
Glenn, I'll put the question to Shannon when he joins us shortly, but do you feel that Waterloo's the type of filly that could match it with the boys come Derby time?
I do. The times tell you that Waterloo can do it. Its previous times have been well and truly up to the Colts. But the other night, of course, Waterloo wasn't really expected to win because of the draw and the fact it had a month off, even though the recamp were confident, done the work. It was a tricky draw, but things did change out there when Menemsha fibrillated and dropped off. Just as Wave Rider made its move, they circled the field, and Wave Rider was then left outside the leader, and Waterloo was able to get the back of Wave Rider. That was very significant. If they were able to keep Waterloo 3 deep at that point, it may well have been interesting, but Shannon's driving in brilliant form. He took that opportunity, followed Wave Rider into the race, and then camped on those leaders, and was pretty strong late too. She's a very, very strong filly, so take nothing away from it. She just keeps winning, but I thought Wave Rider was excellent. Blaze Away, probably horse, only a level 3 horse, jumping into that class, did a good job first up. Had its chance though, but was still a meritorious run. But the other one in the race that got carted out of it was Artful Major.
Yeah.
When Menemsha went back to the field, there's 2 horses got carted back, but the one that really went good was Artful Major, and he's one of my horses to follow.
All right, well, take it away. First horse to follow, Artful Major. Let's get a little bit of a deeper dive into Friday night with you, Glenn.
Second horse to follow in the same race, Wave Rider, huge upside, possibly just needed the run, even though it did a fair bit of work and was, the speed it showed to get into the race at the Bell was terrific. And if that turn of foot shows me that Wave Rider's well and truly back, and then fought on really well. So those 2 out of that race, the follows. Of course, we had the one from the previous week that we both liked. Ollie liked it too, or particularly he named Chivalry. Chivalry, a horse to follow again. I think it's going to win further races, albeit the fact he led the other night, just keep following it.
Okay, all right, there's a couple there, Artful Major, Wave Rider and Chivalry. Ollie, what about you?
Kicking off in race 5 with horses to follow, Captain Sterling, as I mentioned earlier, made that break at the start and found himself 5 or 6 lengths off them early, and that was, in the end, could have been the difference. Got a soft pegs run, but he was really attacking the line late, and I think with a little bit more clear running, he could have been right in the finish there, and to be beaten 10 metres or so was a fantastic effort. The next horse I've got to follow is from race 8, was beaten a fair way, Amazing American, but was pushed off the gate early, couldn't find the lead, and that was probably the end of his winning chances there realistically. But he also raced a bit roughly at the start, and he ended up getting an okay spot in the run, but he was then first horse to move up 3 wide there, and he moved up quite stylishly, I thought, and I thought he may have then been a chance, but he'd just done too much work throughout the race, and he tired to be beaten 19 metres. But I think getting fitter a few runs back now, if he is able to find the front in a race like this, I think he'll run a really good race at potentially better odds after a run like that. And then the final horse to follow from Friday was out of race 10. I think this is a really good horse just to keep backing generally is Springline, a horse with fantastic gate speed, found the front from a middle draw there and handed over to linebacker and just got tired in the concluding stages. So I think first up from a spell should be better for that run, and going forward with that great gate speed can always be thereabouts. So I'm happy to follow Springline.
All right, the Captain Sterling, Amazing American and Springline for Ollie horses to follow. Now, Glenn, just very quickly before we do let you go, have you got a thought over the next 48 hours or so as to a winner, be it Pinjarra today or Gloucester Park tomorrow night?
Yes, Tim, and just a quick note too on the fact that Cobham Lady completed 2 trials back in the draw.
Yep.
Now for the heats on Monday, which is good news for that camp. You look at Pinjarra today, I like race 4, number 7, No Noni, 6-1 Louis Dior and 7-1 Grievous. And tomorrow at Gloucester Park, there might be one of value. It's race 1, number 2, Watch Me Wave. I think it'll go around a good price. Numerically, it's got no form, but it's got to draw tomorrow to improve. Race 1, number 2, Champagne Everyone's race 2, number 2. I think they'll run a race. 3-11 Barbados went pretty good the previous Friday at Gloucester Park. I think it's an each-way bet in an open race. And 4-4 Sugar Apple, it's one of their horses to follow. It gets its opportunity on Tuesday as well. Race 4, number 4.
All right, terrific. Very nicely done. Glenn, we'll catch up with you again on Friday morning for the Retrovision Gloucester Park preview ahead of more feature racing this Friday night. Looking forward to that, and we'll catch up with you again then. Many winners between now and then.
Yep, great. We've got the August Cup Friday. Should be great.
It certainly will be. There is Glenn Moore. Of course, you can hear from him Friday morning on the Retrovision Gloucester Park preview after 8 o'clock. Ollie, let's dive into in a little bit greater detail Pinjarra today. Firstly, we got your snapshot of the 8-race program on the Sports Daily a little earlier on this morning. Let's go a little bit deeper into some of your better bets on the program.
Won't make us wait too long. I'll kick things off in the first race. I'm really keen on the chances of Hold That Gold here, and I think has gone up a fairly reasonable price. He's $1.75 at Tab Touch at the moment, and from gate 1 off the mobile looks extremely hard to beat here. I can totally forgive that last start mistake from the stand start. It's totally different conditions here from the mobile and looks extremely hard to beat. Last start, Nicky's son was the beneficiary of that mistake by Hold That Gold, but prior to that, Hold That Gold had the measure of Nicky's son for the most part. So I really do think Hold That Gold will be really hard to beat from gate 1, and a few of the other horses in the race are going reasonably well, but we'll take plenty of catching Hold That Gold.
$1.75 with Tab Touch as things stand. So you open the day hopefully with a winner, the next of them.
In race 3, Copy of Paris, as I mentioned earlier, trialled recently and looked to be going a bit awkwardly before really powering into it late, and took a lot of ground off the leaders there, and the leader of that race and the winner was Frisky Sticks, and that's a pretty smart horse, Frisky Sticks. He'd be going around a very short price favourite in this race. Has done things wrong at times, but has quite good gate speed, and if able to land on the front here, I think can make it really difficult for True Grit, who comes off the back row in this race and is also first up from a spell. So I think there's enough queries there to say True Grit may be a little bit too short, and I'm happy to go against it here with Copy of Paris, who can just be rated to hopefully beat True Grit there, and I think the rest of them probably have a little bit of ground to make up on those two. So they look the top two, and hopefully Copy of Paris can come out on top there.
$2.90 with Tab Touch at the moment. And your next special for today?
The next one, we'll have to wait to the last for this one, but it's one at a bit of value. Get the Booth. There's a few queries here. It's a horse that has done plenty of things wrong in the past and is a month between runs, but I just think this horse has a lot of ability, and I'd hate to see it win at big odds without us. And I think can just keep pushing forward here, can do a bit of work in her races, and is generally a horse that keeps sticking on. And it's not a strong race, this one. There's a few in this that have a few convictions, so I think Get the Booth can get forward in this race, and from there can be a really good each-way chance for us.
All right, so that is race 8, number 7, Get the Booth, $13 with Tab Touch. We'll see how long that lasts, Ollie, with our listeners this morning. To go with Hold That Gold in the opener, copy of Paris in race number 3. Okay, we turn our attention to Gloucester Park tomorrow night. How are we playing this card?
We'll kick things off in race 2. Champagne Everyone, as Glen mentioned, has had bad gates in her last couple of starts and was a super effort too back when flashing into second behind Sweet Vivian, who's gone around in some of the Metro Mares races recently, has good gate speed, and this looks a really suitable race for her. She looks likely to be the leader in the race, and from there probably doesn't look a horse that can really apply too much pressure and stick on. So I think Champagne Everyone can control it, and she's so fast that if she's able to control it, I think she'll dash away from them and will be able to score there. Follow My Stride might be one to keep for the exotics in that race. Hasn't had the best of luck when it comes to barrier draws in recent times. So I think with an improved barrier here, could be one that feels a minor placing.
Okay, so that is in race 2. What about the next of your specials?
The next one comes up in race 4, and it's another one that Glenn mentioned. So we're seeing things exactly the same way here. Sugar Apple was a real eye-catching effort last start when flashing into 5th late behind Who's the Dad. Comes into this race third up from a spell, should be getting fitter, and draws to advantage over Lucid Dreams and Benji, who I thought looked the two hardest to beat. Lucid Dreams was a pretty impressive winner there on Friday. Flashed over the top of them, but was racing on the pegs there, and I'm not sure we'll get that luxury in this race. So I'm happy to be with Sugar Apple in that race to hopefully race on the speed and prove too good.
Have you got one more for us?
I've got another one that I sort of thought would be decent value potentially. It's a bit of an even race in race 5. Sweet Lucifer was such an impressive trialer recently at Byford. Really was dominant in the trial and ran a slick last half. So I think in race 5, Sweet Lucifer could be a great each-way bet there. Pasquale and Prime Mover likely to be the two favourites there, but I think Sweet Lucifer could cause the upset there if able to find a good position in the race, and has always been a horse with plenty of ability, but just done things wrong at times. So coming back from a spell, he may be a different horse, worth playing at odds.
All right, so that is Champagne Everyone in race 2 for Ollie. Follow My Stride, maybe one for the novelties there. Race 4, Sugar Apple, and race 5 on the each-way basis, Sweet Lucifer. Just on that one today, Get the Booth, still $13 available in the lucky last there for one of Ollie's best bets of the day. If you missed it, you can jump on the podcast, listen to what Ollie had to say. If you missed the start of it, of course, Ollie, you'll be back tomorrow morning, 8:45 on the Sports Daily to give us an in-depth look at that Gloucester Park program race by race. So looking forward to your company then, and thanks for your company today on Off and Pacing.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Tim.
There is Ollie Cownie with us on Off and Pacing this Monday morning. Short break, back with more in a moment.
On Tab Radio, Racing and Sport, this is Off and Pacing.
Great to have your company this Monday morning. If you've missed any of our tips from Glen or Ollie this morning, or horses to follow, as I mentioned, you'll be able to jump on the podcast very, very shortly. Right now, we've got Shannon Suvaljko with us as a special guest on the program this morning off the back of a really good Friday night, and much to work through with him. Shannon, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, g'day, Tim. How are you going?
Going very well. I'm sure you are as well off the back of a really good Friday night. You must have been wrapped leaving Gloucester Park.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I listened to the replays on the way home, and yeah, it was great listening. So yeah, it's good to have a good night out.
It certainly is. We'll start with the feature if we can. Sebastian James. So, did you think you'd done enough to win, or were you worried that Belly Up might have got you?
Yeah, I thought I held on, but yeah, I was a bit concerned when he started to paddle halfway down the straight. You know, he just kind of he's flicking his ears a little bit and he's waiting for him, but. it was good that the line come up in time.
We spoke to Steve Johnson earlier on this morning, and we spoke to Cat Warwick on Friday night as well. Is he the type of horse that just does what he has to do?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. He's really casual and laid back. He just stands there. Like, even before the race, I gave him a good warm-up because of trying to come out the gate and hold the challenges if they came. And then I just stood him on the outside fence, and he just stood there like an old animal. So, yeah, it was great. He's really casual, but you have to still be wary how to drive him. I probably made a little bit of mistake by kicking away, but I think that might even won me the race. So, yeah, knowing the horse, I knew that he might wander a little bit, but he gave me such a good kick in the first 50 to 75 metres that I thought, he got away from him, but then, he wandered. So, but it was still good to hold on. Yeah,
exactly right. And is there any reason why he can't keep going, knowing that there's still some good 2-year-old racing to look forward to over the next 4 to 5 weeks?
No, there's no reason. I'm sure I spoke to Kat about him sitting in that, and I'm sure he's a type of horse who can get around into the breeze too, because he can run solid quarters all the way, and you can ask him and then he'll go to sleep. So, yeah, I think he's very versatile.
All right. Now, it was a terrific way to start Friday night with Waterloo taking on the boys and having to overcome barrier number 8. How impressed were you by her performance?
Yeah, it's great. From that outside draw, fillies usually get barrier draws against the Colts sometimes, but in that kind of her level, she had to draw there, but she missed the fillies race the week before, which wasn't ideal, but I just said to Mick, you may as well just throw her against the Colts, because the way she's been working, I since her last win, I know she won a feature race at Pinjarra, and she hasn't had a day off. Like, she went to the track again on that Wednesday or the Saturday after the Pinjarra, so she hasn't had a day off. So I know it was a month between, but she probably had 8 track works in that time, and I thought she went to another level. Like, in that time, even Ryan Bell watched me work on the Saturday, and she worked with 2 class horses, and she just, I couldn't hold her on the corner. She ran aiming 26 something, and she went low 250. So I thought, she's the way she worked on that Saturday, that she's going to be mighty hard to beat. Doesn't matter what was in the field.
So is there a suggestion that maybe, just listening to you speak there, that she can get better still?
Oh, definitely, yeah. She's what's the best thing about her? Sweet Lou's, they can be a bit revvy sometimes, but she's so laid back. And early on, she could have gone that way, but I think all the racing and the going to the track and tying her up each time, and she just come around, and she just saves her energy, and she's like in the prelim, she just wobbles. It's great to move a horse like this.
All right. Now, just a very quick one. While we're on horses out of that stable, we got to see Lion Queen back here at Gloucester Park last Tuesday night. What was your takeaway from her first start for quite some time?
Yeah, well, she's working just as good. Her track work, I think she held off Waterloo one day down the track about 3 weeks ago. So I thought, she's on song, but it's nothing like race fitness, but she's always had blocks on all her life, and even when she got broken in, and this year we've gone with the open bridle, trying to make her, run the journeys of the bigger races coming around and settling a little bit. And she's been going good, but she did want to wander up the track again. It was a bit muddy on the fence anyway, but she did want to get off the rail. So, yeah, we made some gear changes on the Wednesday, and her work was outstanding on Wednesday. And, so I think with the heats next Monday, I'm sure they won't get in the same heat, but she's going as good as Waterloo, no problem about that.
Right, so Waterloo will need to be on her game come the final. If they both get there and qualify next week, she will need to be on her game to be able to beat Lion Queen.
Yeah, I think I might come around to barrier draws. Lion Queen will definitely be improved by another run, and so and Waterloo, she's going from strength to strength. So, yeah, it's going to be a great tussle from barrier draws, and, yeah, drive accordingly, and I'm sure they'll race to their best, both of them.
All right, Shannon Suvaljko is with us on, off and pacing this morning. Just very quickly, a snapshot of drives today, probably all on the each-way basis. Is there one that stood out for you today before we just work through a couple of them tomorrow night?
Yeah, I got 5 drives, but I think, I got bad draws. So I thought Sweet Vivian could run a place, but that's about it, I thought.
Okay, all right. Just on tomorrow night, again, we won't work through all of them, but we just got a mention for Barbados, perhaps on an each-way basis in race number 3. Could you see Barbados running into the money?
Yeah, he's been racing really well. He's Friday night form's been pretty good, so he comes back for a Tuesday and he's got a lovely draw, so he's racing consistently. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll be in the money somewhere. All
right, prime mover gets the draw, comes up against Pasquale here. How did you see it playing out from this good draw?
Yeah, he's got a great draw. I don't know what Mick wants to do yet, but his work's been really good since he won, and then last Saturday he raced against Lion Queen, but he got caught up in the pack and on the muddy track. So, but his work on Wednesday was really good. So, and Saturday. So, his work on Saturday was really good. So, he should be hard to beat.
All right, and Dark Eyes has got the draw advantage on a couple of key rivals. Certainly, Golden Load, who's back tomorrow night. Can Dark Eyes get a win on the board tomorrow in race 6?
Yeah, he definitely deserves it. His last run was outstanding. You know, he got 155 and he got pressured all the way, and he never stopped running, and he's even the last quarter was 28-something. So I can see him leading, and I can see him winning. Sure.
All right, and just on the last, very quickly, the 2-year-old race, Head Office. What sort of a feel did you get from Head Office last week?
Yeah, it was a really windy Narrogin meeting, but on the track, a lot of leaders led that day, and it came off the track and 4 deep and around him and beat him convincingly. But it was a good test for her, and she trialled really good before that at Byford. So she'll run a good race, and I haven't really looked at the field at the moment, but she should be in the finish somewhere.
All right, terrific. Shannon, as always, appreciate your time. Well done on Friday night, and good luck over the next 48 hours, and hopefully a few more winners for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
You too. There is Shannon Suvaljko with us, rounding out off and pacing for this Monday morning.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.